Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, Patsun, and today we're gonna be taking a look at r/true off my chest, where OP found out that his fiance was a former adult video creator. Let's begin. I got cheated on before and during pregnancy. What do I do? Posted by Reddit user Summer Sunshine.
Back in the end of June, I was 8 months pregnant and received a text one night from an acquaintance saying she had to tell me something and asked if she could call me. I had no idea what this was about, but I said yes because I was sitting on the couch next to my husband and we weren't doing anything after putting down our 1.5-year-old toddler. We were both super curious what this not close friend had to tell me that was so important she'd be calling at like 9 p.m. at night, so I put her on speakerphone. She was calling to tell me that she was out at a bar with her new friend from her new job, who had been telling her about her love life, and she happened to mention one guy's name, my husband, and he has a unique name, so she immediately thought of him. They have met once or twice but not recently. She asked her friend for more details and a photo of this guy she had met on Tinder, went on a couple dates with him and have a BJ2 after 2 dates in the parking lot. Sure enough, she recognized him as my husband and immediately called me. Since my husband had been sitting right next to me and she was on speakerphone, he heard everything. She said she had proof and offered to send it to me, so I said yes please and hung up. As soon as I was off the phone I said, "Is this true?" To which he said, "Yes." To say I was completely blindsided was an understatement. That night I barely got any sleep and we talked for hours. I cried, was angry, felt all the emotions associated. I had already had plans the next morning with my mom and wanted to get out of the house, so I still went. I prefaced it by saying, "Please don't overreact, I have to tell you something," because I also had my toddler with me. Of course she was shocked and angry too, but also 100% supportive of me and my kids. Since I did not want to talk about this in front of my kid, over the next week or so we talked every nap time and after they went to bed for the night. I also found out that he had not been honest up front and that he had talked to other girls on dating apps and took 2 on dates and kissed them due to that same friend posting him on "Are we dating the same guy?" FB group. Of course, he assured me repeatedly he had only met up with that one girl that ended up being my friend's friend, and that he had nothing else to tell me. I was yelling and crying that night again, a few days later after the initial D-Day, and said I hated him, to get out, etc. So in all, he admits to going on Tinder and other dating apps starting last fall, October 2022, through at the time present, June 2023. We have barely been married over a year, married May 2021. Our child had just turned 1 and we had decided to try for a second and was successful in October 2022 when his cheating started. He talked to my friend's friend from November 2022 and finally met up and went on dates with her a few months later in mid-December 2022 and then again in January 2023 and received a BJ after each date, I am told. After that she apparently stopped replying to him, but he would continuously reach out even up until the beginning of the week of the D-Day in June 2023. He also admits to meeting up with 2 other girls to take them on dates and says he only kissed them. So he cheated pretty much before I even got pregnant, all the way up until he got caught less than a month before I was due. I ended up agreeing to go to marriage counseling but told him that does not guarantee anything. I needed time to think because I was due in less than a month. We had 1 session before the birth of our second and have gone a handful of times since then, but I have not found it overly useful. He also had a telehealth appointment with a psychiatrist who recommended he stop drinking, which has been a problem. I wouldn't call him an alcoholic but definitely drank too often, almost daily and too much, and that he was probably bipolar but did not officially diagnose him with anything. He recommended he find a therapist to continue speaking with. Of course, D-Day and finding everything out was the shittiest possible timing ever, with being less than 1 month before my due date. Since then, we have continued living in the same rented condo with our 2 children, almost 2 in 2 months as I figure things out. His behavior has changed significantly and he is helping out with the kids, household stuff and being less moody or rude to me because he does not want to lose us, he says. I don't hate him, although I don't forgive him and don't trust him, and he knows this. I feel like I swing back and forth every other week between wanting to stay since the kids are so young and I can't possibly imagine not being with them every day. I am not miserable living here with him, as he's been on his best and most helpful behavior. The first night I spent away from my first was when my second was born for those 2 nights in the hospital. My husband was in the military, so was gone much of my first year of life, but has since gotten out and holds a regular civilian job where he is home every day and night now. I took care of our first every time he was away and often joked I felt like a single mom. However, I wonder if we do separate and I divorce him now, would that give me an advantage since they are so young? I don't mind them seeing their father, but want sole residential custody and for them to be home with me every single night. I exclusively breastfed my first for the first year and have planned and am planning on doing that with my second, who is 2 months old currently. If I wait for a year or two to divorce him and don't act now, they will be older, and would I lose that advantage, I am wondering. I don't think the courts would separate the kids since they are so young, but I would not trust my husband to have them overnight. He is an extremely heavy sleeper and does not wake up at night unless I am shaking him repeatedly. He's ashamed, so he has not told anyone, friends, family, etc. His family also lives about 15 hours away and he does not really have friends in the area currently. I have told my parents and 2 friends, but have kept it mostly to myself. I feel embarrassed this happened to me, even though I know nothing is my fault. I'm sure I missed some details, but all this to say I really don't know what to do. We both work full-time, although I am off currently on maternity leave but going back part-time next week. He makes about twice as much as I do and pays all the bills currently, rent, electricity, gas, etc. We have no debts or shared property, we're renting. My 2 options I am considering are 1. Stick it out until the kids are older and then divorce because I can't fathom potentially not having them with me every single day and night. Or 2. Divorce now and potentially have their young ages as an advantage. Would the courts even view that as such? He says he will spend every day trying to make it up to me, to us, and that he loves us more than anything else. But I just roll my eyes at that and have told him, no, you love yourself more, you chose yourself. He says he cheated and knew it was wrong but couldn't stop himself, and that's he feels like he was a different person but has changed now since he stopped drinking totally, etc. Anyone go through something similar and have any experience with getting divorced with children so young? We've been married for about 2.5 years at this point, have a 2-year-old and 2-month-old. I would also want to consider mediation since it's cheaper, and I am hoping we can work out an agreement civilly. I'm looking at being a divorced single mom of 2 babies. Ugh. Edit. I live in a no-fault state.
OP. A guy cheating on his wife is one thing, but a guy cheating on his pregnant wife is a whole other level of degeneracy. One of the worst type of people to be associated with, to be honest. Just divorce him, man. Tell all your mutual friends and family. Otherwise, he will just do it again. But the difference is, he will hide it better next time. Listen, OP, you have all the advantages if you divorce him. Sure, your dating life will take a serious hit, but who cares? You have 2 young children. Dating should be at the very bottom of your priorities anyway. Good luck to you, my friend. And now for today's second story. I'm thinking of ending things with my fiance. Her whereabouts on a given night are a mystery. Posted by Reddit user for Halloween.
My fiance and I have been together for a little more than a year and a half. I moved into her place in January just after she got deployed. Things were great before the deployment, now they're rocky. We discussed past relationships early when dating and I thought she was candid, so we agreed to close that door. She was engaged before. I saw a picture of an ex-fiance on her wedding site while we were wedding planning. This didn't bother me at first, but the information in the picture made me think about the timeline, and I deduced this wasn't the engagement she told me about. This was an engagement to a service member that was kept secret. They were engaged after just 3 months of knowing each other, and she was cryptic about why they split. We were both idiots. I asked her about this and she said, we agreed not to talk about our pasts. I told her I felt this should have been disclosed sooner, that I felt misled, but would understand if it was hard for her to talk about. She said, it sounds like you're calling me a liar. I didn't use that term before. I tried to be non-judgmental in my delivery. I explained I thought this was a lie by omission, and she reacted by saying that she didn't lie. This information wasn't important, and I betrayed her trust because I broke our agreement. Not only do I find the agreement irrelevant, because she could have told me this before our agreement, but this also seems like textbook DARVO. I didn't even have to finish explaining this to my therapist before she called it gaslighting. During this conversation with my fiance, she also revealed she did porn. I was disappointed this wasn't revealed sooner. During this time, she talks about behavioral health. By her request, I sent her an email sharing my thoughts and concerns, which she shares with behavioral health. On our next call, she says behavioral health agrees with her that I'm too sensitive and blowing things out of proportion. This to me seems like triangulation. I haven't told her what my friends and therapists think about all of this, as it would create a we versus you dynamic, but she doesn't seem to extend me the same courtesy. To my knowledge, she hasn't been back to behavioral health, which makes me think this short session was weaponized. Conversely, my friends and therapists have been involved way before my fiancé and I even met, and they are all suspicious of her behavior, a story that may be closely related. She suggested her and I meet in a nearby city where she's stationed, and I proposed a date around a major holiday, as it would be easy to get off work. She said she didn't want me to visit, and I asked why. She told me it would be expensive, which it wasn't, then told me, I just don't want you to come. I pressed the next time we chat, and she said it's dangerous, crime and airstrikes, and didn't want me to worry. I asked her why she didn't tell me this sooner, and she said the information was confidential. So what? The information is now no longer confidential. Plus, how could she know how dangerous it would be weeks in advance? The city is a tourist area. We talk on the night of, but she let me know she was waiting on a vehicle to take her to another site because a couple of men got drunk, and she had to bail them out. When we were talking, we had hours to talk about what she wanted to discuss, but as soon as the conversation shifted to me, she asked a couple of perfunctory questions, and all of a sudden the vehicle arrives. I'm sorry if I'm paranoid, but this timing is just too convenient for my liking. My friends think she may still be in touch with her ex, but my fiancé promises this is not the case. My therapist and friends, some of whom are ex-military, do not buy her story and were pretty angry about the hidden engagement. I'm skeptical and upset too. I would like to know what this group thinks, because my fiancé insists I don't let things go. But in my defense, I don't think I'm getting sensible answers to my questions, so, naturally, I ask more questions. I don't know if I should just cut and run or try to talk things out with her when she gets back. Maybe I'm in the wrong and need to reevaluate my approach. I'm trying to give my partner the benefit of the doubt, but I'm finding it increasingly difficult. I grew up in a narcissistic household, and identifying normal for me can be hard. Am I blowing things out of proportion? If not, are these yellow, orange, or red flags? Should I wait and talk things over with her or leave it as a P?
Did you try working the shaft?
Classy.
Good work now.
Now for OP's first update. I grew up in a narcissistic family and I've been called too sensitive my entire life. I'm posting about my partner because, well, some of her behavior has been concerning. There's more to the story on my profile. Sometimes she says things in a light-hearted way, but they make me feel bad. They seem like more than just jokes. They seem targeted, like they weaponize old information. Here are a few examples. I complimented her on her hair and she smirked and said, "Are you jealous? I'm bald and not by choice." A few friends make these types of jokes, but it's not common, and when they do I know they're just teasing. I suspect this is because there's respect there. In this relationship, I'm not so sure. I'm not good at board games and math, so I don't engage in these types of activities much because I'm insecure. She knows this, and she can sense it in others. She's noticed it about her stepfather. She had just taught me a game she's been playing her entire life, and her profession involves math. After 3 or 4 rounds, I make a dumb move and she yells, "Sucker." All of a sudden, I didn't want to play anymore. I expressed the above to her and told her how it made me feel. Weeks later, we were planning a camping trip and she tells me we should bring board games. She says, while smirking, we should play insert game she crushed me at. We were intimate one night and I liked something she did. She said, "You're so easy." I haven't had many partners in my life and I don't sleep with just anyone. I don't judge those who do. She has had many partners. I believe this is projection, but it still hurt. We have both been cheated on and there's lingering insecurity there. I expressed my concerns before she left for deployment. I know infidelity is high and the man-to-woman ratio is skewed. She said it would be like if I went on vacation with a bunch of in-shape women, which she later denied saying with, "I never said that." One night, we were talking about how her branch of the military falsely advertises what being deployed is like. So, she sends me a 10-year-old video of a bunch of young, fit, half-naked, attractive men in the Special Forces lip-syncing a song and says, "Isn't this funny?" I don't know. It seemed only tangentially related. I mean, what would she think if I sent her a similar video of a bunch of young, attractive, tight-bodied 20-year-old women from a gym I attend doing the same? These to me do not feel like light-hearted jokes. They seem malicious, like put-downs attempting to magnify my insecurities and diminish my self-worth. My self-worth is preserved, but most of all I'm confused and worried that I can't take a joke. She has called me sensitive and says I blow things out of proportion. These seem like put-downs. Am I wrong? And now for OP's second update. My partner and I have been together for a little more than a year and a half. We got engaged in December, I moved into her place shortly after, then she deployed to the Middle East. She's in a country that's generally safe and there's a touristy city a couple of hours away. In June, she wanted me to visit the city to do her a favor. I was excited. I hadn't seen her in some 6 months. I proposed July 4th. She says, "I don't want you to come," and tells me it's expensive. When I explain it's no more expensive than any other time, she says, "I just don't want you to come." She was open to me visiting other dates, however. We had been having some disagreements as I found out about a prior engagement to someone in the service that she kept hidden, so things were a little rocky already.
I feel like we've been here before. Have we been here before?
I pressed the next day via text and she deflected. I pressed again the next time we got on a video call, and she told me there were airstrikes in the area and she didn't tell me because it was confidential, but she could tell me now and didn't want me to be concerned. None of this adds up. She regularly makes trips around the country and others who I've spoken to have said the country is generally safe. Moreover, how would she know how dangerous things would be a month out? In her entire time there, I've not once heard anything about airstrikes. They are localized to this holiday weekend only. We're on a video call the night of, it's noon for me and evening for her. She says a couple of men got drunk and she had to drive to another location to bail them out of jail, and needed to wait on a vehicle to take her to the location.
Oh my god, this is happening again.
She spent 90 minutes to 2 hours talking about all the stuff she wanted to talk about. I was a little frustrated because I was going through a lot also, and she didn't check in on me at all. When I expressed my frustration, she asked me a couple of perfunctory questions. How are things with you? And suddenly she receives a notification that the vehicle shows up. This timing, for me, is too convenient. I suppose it's possible, but with all of the secrecy around the day, I don't like this coincidence. I talked about it with her again after, but she's sticking to her story: airstrikes in the area, drug trafficking, and a generally unsafe environment. But her explanations don't seem to track. Maybe she went to a party, maybe she cheated, maybe both. I don't know, but I'm tired of ruminating about it. She comes home in a couple of weeks and I'm debating whether or not I want to stay. I feel like she's not shooting straight, and at this point, I'm tired of asking and getting elusive answers. There is also ample evidence of gaslighting. DARVO, I never said that, you're too sensitive, etc. All of this is making my head spin, and the person I thought I knew is now a stranger.
OP, I'm not even involved in the military, but I could tell that she's full of shit. Look man, she's playing you. Those small jabs at you are exactly what you think they are. An attempt to destroy your self-esteem. That's how narcissists are. You are not the only guy she's talking to, my friend. I'm willing to bet real money that she's the barracks bicycle. Just cut your losses and move on. Don't marry this manipulative hoe. A former porn star. Come on, man. You already know what's up. Probably every male colleague that she ever had. Viewer support is the best way for me to remain independent and continue bringing you these daily videos, which will always be here on my channels for you to watch absolutely free. So please consider subscribing to me on Rumble and on YouTube. Both will be linked in the description box down below. Thanks for listening everyone. If you even somewhat enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you really like it, consider subscribing to PattSun to never miss a future upload. Stay strong.